Hello everyone, all you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of my JavaScript mini projects. In this episode I'm going to be creating a to-do app. So yeah, this is one of the classic JavaScript beginner projects. So basically this will have these functionalities. You can type a task to be done. For example, create this video. When I click add, it will add the task here. I can click here, it will get a line put over it, and I can also delete it. So yeah, this is what we are going to be building with HTML, CSS and JavaScript in this episode. So let's get going. So here we are in Visual Studio Code, and I have created a folder to do app into my random small projects over here. So let's get going. First we gotta get the doc type HTML, and then HTML language will equal English. There we go. Then let's create the head section. I'm gonna use the char set of UTF-8 and also the viewport, and content is gonna be width, device width, and initial scale will be 1.0. There we go. After that I'm going to make the title. This is a simple to do app, and I'm gonna link the style sheet like so. There we go. So now the CSS style sheet is linked. I'm also going to need a couple of other things. The first one is going to be a Google Fonts link. So I'm gonna just copy it from here and I'm gonna put it over here. So link, the relation is going to be actually href. It's gonna be this, and the relation is gonna be style sheet. There we go, we got a Google font. And then I'm gonna be using Cloudflare's Font Awesome for this. So I gotta take another one from here. Link, the relation is style sheet, and the href is going to be, let me get the link. Here we go, and there we go. Alright. So this allows me to get some cool icons. This allows me to use a font, and this is the style sheet of mine. Alright, we got everything we need to have inside of here. Let's get over here and create the body section. And first I'm gonna create a div with the class of container. Inside I'm gonna create another div element with the ID of new task, and there I'm gonna be creating an input box. The type will be text, and the placeholder will be task to be done dot dot dot. There we go. And let's add a label, why not? So label, input, the task. Alright, and then a button with the ID of add, and it will say add. There we go. Then I'm gonna get outside of this div element, and I'm gonna create another one. This will have an ID of tasks, and I'm gonna leave it like that. At the bottom of my body, I'm gonna make a relative file path to the index.js file that I'm going to be using. And this is going to be all the HTML that I'm gonna need. Let's open this. So this is what we have so far. Alright, let's get over here. I'm gonna use the asterisk to select everything, then the asterisk, colon before, and the asterisk, colon after. So I'm gonna make the padding to be 0, margin 0, and the box sizing will be a border box. There we go. Then I'm gonna select my body element, and the height of the body element will be 100 viewport heights. And the background is gonna be a linear gradient. There we go. Oh, get away. There we go. Okay. Actually, background colon linear gradient. And it's gonna be 135 degrees. And then I'm gonna use some pre-picked colors. D161FF. And there we go. Alright. I'm gonna change these to HSL values, and let's see, I could adjust them a little bit. There we go. And there we go. I guess that looks pretty good. Alright. I'm gonna make that 60% just to be precise. So yeah, there we go. Let's add a semicolon. And that's it for the body element. Then I'm gonna take the container class. The width of that will be 40%. The minimum width will be 450 pixels. The position will be absolute. Margin will be auto. Left will be 0, right is gonna be 0, and what? Get away. Alright, there we go. Top will be 30 pixels, and let's add some padding. 30 pixels and 40 pixels. There we go. Okay. Then I'm gonna take my ID new task from here and hashtag new task. The position will be relative. The background color will be FFF, which is going to be white. Alright. And then I'm gonna add some padding. 30 pixels by 20 pixels. So 30 pixels on the top and bottom and 20 on the right and left. Alright. Then border radius is going to be 5 pixels to smooth the corners. Then I'm gonna make a box shadow. 0, 15, 30 pixels, and I'm gonna use RGBA 0, 0, 0, 0.3. 0.5, 0.7. I'm gonna use 0.5. Add a semicolon, and I'm gonna change this to HSLA. Alright, there we go. Then I'm going to take the input element from the new task. So this is the div element right over here. I'm gonna take the input. So new task and input. There we go. I'm gonna scroll down a little bit. We will make the width to be 70% and the height will be 45 pixels. The font family will be Poppins, backed up by sans serif. The font size is gonna be 15 pixels, 16 pixels, that's better. Alright. And I'm gonna add a border of 2 pixels, solid, hashtag D1D, 3D4. There we go. Alright, I'm gonna make that 80. Then I'm going to add padding of 10 pixels, 12, 14, 12. Let's go with 12. Alright. And color is gonna be 111. And there we go. Okay. The font weight will be 500. The position will be relative and border radius of 5 pixels to smooth the corners. Alright. Then let's take the new task, input and focus. So the outline will be none and the border color will be this one, but I'm gonna make it an HSL value and round it to 60. So now when we focus at the input, this border is right over here is going to be this color. I'm also gonna take the border style and make it solid. Alright, there we go. And after that, I'm going to take the new task. I'm gonna select the button. The button is going to be this one. Okay, and in here I'm gonna make the position relative, float right, so it will be next to this. Actually this label needs to go. Bye bye. Okay, there we go. Okay, the float will be right. The width is gonna be 20%. Height will be 45 pixels. The same as the input box. And then the border radius could be 5 pixels again. Font family is going to be Poppins, backed up by sans serif. Font weight is gonna be 500. Font size 16 pixels. Background color 8052EZ. And I'm gonna make that 60. Alright. Then border none. And color will be white. Cursor will be a pointer and outline will be a none. Alright, then I wanna take the hashtag new task button, hover pseudo class, and when I hover over the button, I wanna make it 10% darker, like that. Okay, and then I'm gonna take this same one, but I'm gonna use the active pseudo class and I'm gonna copy this color, but now I'm gonna make it 10% darker once again. So now when I click, it has that flashing effect. Alright, then I'm going to take the div tasks, so hashtag tasks, and the background color is going to be white. The height will be 50 pixels. I'm gonna add padding 5 pixels by 10 pixels. Some margin top of 10 pixels. The display will be flex. Align items will be center. We will justify the content. Space between. We will make the borders bottom 2 pixels solid, hashtag D1, D4, 3, D1, D3, D4. Yes. Let's make it an HSL value, change this to be 80. There we go. And the cursor will be a pointer. Alright, looking good so far. Actually, I made a little mistake here. I'm gonna return a little bit. I'm gonna add the... Sorry, I thought I was already on the class styling. I'm on the ID styling. Okay, so the padding is gonna be 30 pixels by 20 pixels. And the margin top will be 60 pixels. Alright, looking better. There's a lot of trial and error with CSS. That's normal. Border radius could be 10 pixels. And the box shadow is gonna be 0, 15, 30, RGBA, 0.5. There we go. And I'm gonna change that to an HSL value. And this one to an HSL value as well. Alright. By the way, what are those doing in there? Okay, there we go. So now we can make the width to be 100% and the position relative. There we go. Okay. And then I'm gonna make a class of task. Now this doesn't exist yet, but we are gonna create it with JavaScript. So this is gonna have a background color of white. HSL, there we go. And a height of 50 pixels. Padding will be 5 pixels by 10 pixels. The margin top will be 10 pixels, so this is going to be the styling for every individual task. Okay. After the margin top, let's make it into a flex box. Align the items at the center and justify the content with space between. And the border dash bottom will be 2 pixels solid, hashtag D1D 3D4. There we go. And I'm gonna make that into 80%. And the cursor is gonna be a pointer. There we go. Okay, so we don't have any tasks yet, but we're gonna create them with the JavaScript. Alright, now I'm gonna take the task and the span property, I'm gonna use them. The font family is gonna be Poppins, backed up by sans serif. Font size 16 pixels and font weight 400. Alright, let's take the task button. The background color will be this one. I'm gonna use an HSL value, round that down to 60%. The color will be white. There we go. And then height is going to be 100%. The width 40 pixels. Border radius will be 5 pixels. Border none. Cursor will be a pointer and outline will be none. We're almost done. Then we gotta add the completed class. So the text decoration will be line true. So this is the class that we will add to these elements over here when when we click on them and we want to add the line true text decoration. Alright, then let's go to JavaScript. So there's about 100 different ways you can do this app, but I'm gonna go with this. So let's take the document, use the query selector, and I am going to take hashtag push. There we go. And on the on click, attribute. I'm gonna create a function. There we go. And first we are going to check if the user put anything. So if the document.querySelector new task input. So we are taking the new tasks input element. If the new tasks input element is, or the value and the length of the value is equal to 0, then we will say alert, please enter a task. Okay, then we will add an else statement. Else we will continue. So document dot query selector, let's take the tasks and change the inner HTML to plus equals. I'm gonna use a template literal. So here we go. I'm gonna type some HTML inside of JavaScript. So div class equals task. Then there's going to be the span element, span with the ID of task name. And then I'm gonna take the document.querySelector. I'm gonna close this for a while. And then I am going to take the new tasks and the input. I'm gonna take the value of that, and that will be placed inside of the span element. There we go. And now I'm gonna create the button. The class is gonna be delete, and then I'm gonna create an I with the class. This is what I'm using the Cloudflare's font awesome for. So the class will be var fa trash alt. There we go. Alright. And then I'm gonna make a closing tag for the button and a closing tag for the div element. So there we go. This is basically the HTML that we will be creating. So we have the class of task over here, task span, which is going to be this one. And then we got the button delete over here. Alright, now I'm gonna continue. So let's go and create a variable of current tasks equals document.querySelector all. I'm gonna take all the tasks that have the delete button in them, because all of them are going to have that. Then I'm gonna create a for loop. So let I equals 0, and if I is smaller than the current tasks dot length, I will increment it by 1. Then current tasks at the index of I, and if we do an onClick, which equals a function, we can do this dot parent node dot remove. There we go. And I'm gonna use var for these. So there we go. Because I'm using this keyword over here. Alright. Then I'm gonna get out from here and I'm gonna make a var tasks equals document.querySelector all, and I'm gonna select the task this time. Let's create a for loop, so var I equals 0 as long as the I is, or the index is smaller than the length property of our tasks. We will increment I by 1, and then we will take tasks at the index of I and take the onClick equals a function, and this dot class list dot toggle, and here we are going to add the class completed from here. So the completed will be adding the text decoration line through, and when we have the task in the right over here inside of this div element, we are going to loop through those tasks, and then basically this code will delete any task that we are currently having our mouse on. So the tasks at the index of I, that will loop through all the tasks that we have, and then we will execute this function. Alright, there's one more thing we have to add, and it's gonna be right over here. So document.querySelector, and now we are going to take the new task input, and the value is gonna be an empty string. So every single time when we input a new task, the input box is going to clear itself. So I'm gonna show you what we have right now. So basically, tasks to be done: create this video. I'm gonna add. We got some kind of an issue right now. I'm gonna check it out. And I found the issue. It's right over here. So instead of removing the child, we gotta remove just this .parent node.remove. And then let's see. Let's try it out. Okay, so there's something wrong with the button add. I'm gonna check it out once again. And I made a stupidly small mistake. This ID should be push. And now it's going to work, so let's see. Because I'm using the document.querySelector ID of push over here. So the ID will need to be push on this button. Alright, let's see if it works. Create this video, add, yes it does. Then we can also, when we click, we can overline this, we can remove that, and we can delete that. And we can also add multiple tasks. There we go. And it seems to work. Oh yeah. There's one more thing I would like to add, and I'm going to take this button with the class of delete. I'm gonna go to CSS, so dot delete :hover. The background color is, well, that's probably the correct one. Yeah, it is. So yeah, I'm gonna take that and then dot delete active. And I'm gonna take the same color but reduce the lightness once again by 10%. So here we go. So now we have this flashing effect over here. So I can say test. Alright, and now we have the same flashing effect on this button as well. Alright, wonderful. And in case you were wondering what this line of code is for, document.querySelector new task take the input and the value into an empty string. If we didn't have this, it would be like this. Create this video, then I add it, and this is still gonna stay here, and I have to manually remove it. So this line of code over here prevents that. I don't have to manually remove the task from the input box every single time. So create this video, which is pretty much done. Test this app out. I'm doing it right now, and yeah, say your goodbyes. Alright, so the app seems to be working. I have tested it out, and now I'm gonna say my goodbyes. So yeah, this is what we got done in this episode. The code is pretty simple. There's about 1,000 different ways that you can do the same app in JavaScript, because JavaScript is a very flexible language. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope I'm going to see you in the next episode of this series, or maybe a tutorial video or some other video on the channel. But anyways, thank you guys, thank you everybody for watching, and I'm going to see you later. Have a wonderful day, and I hope you learned something new from this. Happy learning everyone, and bye bye.